So now the question is, it's good that we understood the approaches of valuation. It is good we understood the methods of valuation under the different approaches. Now the question is, uh, how do we differentiate or how do we understand these methods from the perspective of IndAS 113, which is on fair value measurement. So IndAS 113 के हिसाब से ये जो quoted price है, this is referred as label 1 input, and the comparable company method and the comparable transaction method, they are referred as label 2 input, and the discounted cash flow is referred as label 3 input. तो मैं आपकी जानकारी के लिए बता दूं that we have this IndAS 113 which is on fair value measurement. IndAS 113 spells out these three approaches that we have discussed: income approach, market approach, and the asset approach. IndAS 113 does not prescribe that which method should you use for the purpose of valuation. It only prescribes the approaches, and it prescribes the label 1 input, label 2 input, or label 3 input, and that's all. It does not go beyond that actually. So what is label 1 input? Label 1 input का मतलब है simply speaking quoted price. So quoted price is a label 1 input. What is label 2 input? Label 2 input means observable data, observable information. So doing valuation on an information which is available in the public domain, that's your label 2 input. So comparable company is observable, comparable transaction is observable because this information is available in the market and you can use it for the purpose of valuation. Now please understand, company is not listed, so quoted price is not available. Now incidentally, there is no comparable company, incidentally there is no comparable transaction. Now the question is, how do you do the valuation in such a situation? And as per IndAS 113, you will do valuation in such a situation using label 3 input. And what is label 3 input? Label 3 input will mean unobservable data, unobservable information. That means you have to do the valuation by recreating new information and using that information for the purpose of arriving at the valuation. So what do we do in case of discounted cash flow method? In case of discounted cash flow method, what do we do? We simply do the cash flow projections, right? So जब हम cash flow projections कर रहे हैं, what are we doing? We are creating information for the purpose of arriving at the valuation. As per IndAS 113, which is on fair value measurement, this creation of new information for the purpose of valuation is referred as label 3 input. It is referred as label 3 input. And there may be some questions sometimes in your exam as to what is label 1 input, label 2 input, label 3 input. I am sure this with this understanding you will be able to answer that question. Just to re-strengthen your understanding, label input 1 means quoted price, label 2 input means observable data, some information which is available in the market. Label 3 input will mean unobservable data. That means something which is not available, you have to create by yourself. So when you make the financial projections, what you are doing, you are creating information for the purpose of valuation, and that is what is your label 1 input, label 2 input, and label 3 input as per IndAS 113, which is on fair value measurement. Now, which method should you use? Now, in my understanding, income approach is most fundamental, dependable, and reliable for arriving at valuation. Ignore at your own risk. सो आप देखेंगे कि जो कंपनियों के इस मार्केट में स्कैम्स होते हैं, या जो कंपनी बड़े बड़े प्राइस पर आईपीओ करती हैं और बाद में उनके प्राइस स्टॉक प्राइस नोज डाइव करती है, you will see that in most of these cases they have done the valuation not based on the discounted cash flow or not based on the income approach. They have done the valuation on some absolutely imaginative method of valuation, which they put into the category of market or market approach and get away with it. In the process, the retail investor becomes the biggest sufferer. So, as a valuation professional, I would always recommend that use discounted cash flow or the income approach for the purpose of valuation. Number one. Number two, as far as the market approach is concerned, quoted price is okay, but should be cross checked with the discounted cash flow method. So, even if you are using the quoted price to arrive at the value of a company, uh, it is always better to back it up with the valuation based on the discounted cash flow, because quoted price many times can be driven by many factors which are not fundamental, and thereby one can come to a wrong valuation, in the process suffer. And we all know, I'm sure so many examples will come to your mind as to how the quoted price valuation have gone wrong. So market price, the market approach, quoted price is okay, but should be cross checked with the discounted cash flow method. View quoted prices with professional skepticism, right? Now, as far as the asset approach is concerned, good mostly in case of valuation, and the best part is it indicates the downside value. So, whenever you're doing a transaction, whether of buying a company or selling a company, uh, what the asset approach will give you, it will give you the downside value. कि अगर आप कोई कंपनी को बेच रहे हैं, तो जो उसकी बुक वैल्यू है, जो उसकी एसेट अप्रोच के हिसाब से वैल्यू आ रही है, उतना तो कम से कम आपको मिलना ही चाहिए, क्योंकि बुक वैल्यू है उतना तो ये एडजस्टेड वैल्यू है. सो दैट इज द पर्पस विच इज सर्व्ड बाय the asset approach or the cost approach. Now please remember, all these approaches and methods, they only give you reference point, they do not give you price. So as valuation professional, this is what we have to remember. So as a valuation professional, when I'm doing valuation of a company, I'm not trying to fix a price through the process of valuation. Price has to be fixed by the buyer and the seller. As a valuation professional, I'm only giving a reference point. As a valuation professional, I'm only giving a reference point, right? As valuation professional, arriving at the fair value by using whichever approach or method got to be our main driver. Now, any question, any doubt on this?